Big Basket presents the RCB podcast.
I say this to everybody that I not a single part of me views us wanting to win the IPL because we've never done it before as a pressure. Not even 1% of my being feels like that. Like that's an absolute privilege to be here at a franchise where the expectation is to be a winner. I wouldn't have come here if it wasn't that. So my mindset is that way. So firstly, look, that's the bit I get excited about. That's the reason I came.
Let people go or move on to certain players. I believe it was Glenn Maxwell who said it was possibly the best exit interview that he ever had. But, you know, how much of the role have you played in that? How much do you take on in yourself to have those hard conversations?
Andy and I committed to doing video calls with every single player that we released, and we only retained 3. So that's 22 players that you're releasing. We wanted to do video calls with every single one of them. We want to look them in the eye, and some of those would have been expecting to be released, but you still don't take that for granted. We wanted to thank them for their time and commitment to RCB. And Maxi was one of those difficult decisions, actually. Like, he's someone that you could easily have retained. He's a fantastic cricketer. He's done special things for RCB, albeit it's a difficult conversation, but they respect you for it. So, yeah, for me, that's a non-negotiable to do that kind of thing.
Maga. Weather andre?
Perfect fit.
Cinema andre?
Super hit.
10 minutes andre?
Boys, big basket. 10 minutes andre, big basket. 10 minutes andre, big basket.
Big Basket, delivering in Bengaluru and everywhere in 10 minutes.
One of the key aspects actually maybe for you this season and in the development of players like Jitesh and Rajat certainly is probably having DK as a batting coach who played for you last season. How did you convince him to take on that role? Because he's like, I haven't even had time to think about it. I'm just like going to go into it. It's really worked for you this season.
Well, the first thing I had to do was tell him to stop playing.
Fair.
Because he had a really good season last year.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the season, I think he was thinking about, should I retire, shouldn't I? He was thinking about coaching. We spoke a few times about coaching, so I could tell that his interest was there. He asked me quite cheekily a few times whether we'd be interested in him at the auction, and I said no, which we had a bit of a joke about. But look, I always knew that he was interested in coaching and that he's got coaching potential and leadership potential, and I think he'll go on to do special things as a coach. I really believe that.
From an RCB fan's perspective, are you aware of or is factors into your role about this huge fraternity of red, bold army that follow you everywhere, all over the country, if not globally?
So I'll repeat what I said earlier. None of that is a pressure. It's an absolute privilege. The vision that I have and that I would like to instill in my staff, my team, and hopefully into the players is our job is to keep inspiring these fans. That's our job.
Tough for Indian cricket fans because 2 of our iconic players decided they are not going to play the purest format anymore. And not many were expecting it from Virat because the timing of all of that, the conversations that I'm sure were happening in the group, what you witnessed from him, because it's a very, very emotional decision.
I think he first mentioned it to Andy and me. In fact, he mentioned it just in passing, like if you weren't listening, you might not have noticed it, right? He mentioned it towards the start of the IPL. He was thinking of that. And the biggest compliment you can give him, that despite all of his runs in Test cricket, despite all of the many wins, despite his wins and taking them to number 1 in the world as Test captain, despite all of those things, which anyone would be happy with one of those things, probably the most important thing he did was he made Test cricket feel really important for the world. That's legacy stuff.